Coach, your players were up here just a couple of moments ago, and they were asked what their goals were for the rest of the season. What would they consider it a successful season? They all said, we want to win it all. Do you embrace that? We're going to, not try to, look ahead past any opponents, but that's the attitude that we're going to take.
Yeah, I think that's you embrace it, because I do a goal sheet with them every year back in September, and that always appears on almost everybody's goal is to try to win a national championship. Obviously, you're a long ways from it, even today. You got to win 6 games, and you can't win 6 if you don't win the first one. So they understand and embrace that and want to chase that, which is good. But at the same time, I think they understand, have a good appreciation for what it's going to take to get there, and obviously how challenging tomorrow night's going to be.
Greg, on top of just emphasizing that this is a business trip, how do you also balance that with making sure that the guys do live in this moment that's ahead of them?
Yeah, I think this group has done a very good job all year of staying in the moment and kind of embracing the journey, and we talk about it repeatedly. But just being around them, they're loose. They're doing the same stuff they did during the regular season, joking with each other. So, I think just we've talked about enjoying it and enjoy every road trip, enjoy every practice, and I think that's what's helped this group be successful. They haven't got consumed in what's down the road, either individually or as a team. They've stayed right true to where their feet are, and it's helped them over the course of the season.
Greg, your team, it's been well publicized. It exceeded preseason expectations. I think they were picked to finish, 10th or whatever. Now you guys got that 3 seed in front of your name on the bracket. There are expectations. How do you get your guys? Are they good at managing that? Do you talk to them any different or say anything, or you think they're ready for that moment?
No, I think they're ready for it, and much like one of the previous questions, they understand. And we talk all the time, have for years. You erase the numbers in front of the seeds because all the average and poor teams are out on spring break right now. So you're going to play a really good team that's had a very successful year, has won somewhere between 25 and 30 games or in that realm. So stay true to who you are. I think you make a mistake if you overemphasize some things, because then you get away from who you are and what's made you successful. And obviously you have longer to prepare for this first game, maybe more than any other team in the season, any other game in the season, just because we've had a week. But at the same time, staying true to who we are, trying to fine-tune and improve some of the things that we need to get better at. But again, embracing the moment, enjoying it, giving it everything you got for the 40 minutes we have in front of us.
Greg, you were asked a lot about the three-point shooting for Colgate the other day. What do they look like on the other end of the court? What stands out about their defense?
I think they're very smart in how they play. They don't give up anything easy. They'll squeeze the floor. They'll make driving lines hard to get to. You won't see a lot of gaps in space. They protect the rim pretty well in terms of how they do it collectively. And I know Records has quite a few block shots, the starting 5, but at the same time, collectively, how they're able to squeeze the floor, somewhat similar to how we do and how some of the teams in our league, really, make it hard for you to get anywhere one-on-one. And so you really got to move the ball, got to share it. We're going to have to play inside out and be unselfish with the ball.
Steve McGargy, Associated Press. I know last week you had said after the Michigan State game that Johnny hadn't been able to practice quite as consistently as he generally does because of the injury. What's his practice been like this week? What have you seen from him?
Yeah, it's been right in normal with everybody else. I've mixed practice through the week in terms of contact, no contact, drill only, just knowing that we want to be fresh and healthy for everybody, and obviously he's at the top of the list. So he's gone through everything that everybody else has through the week.
Greg, over here. Jim had asked Johnny about his reaction to when they found out you guys were going to be coming to Milwaukee. He was kind of stone-faced in the video. And when he responded to it up there, he was still pretty stone-faced, just saying he was focused on the game, not the location. How do you describe his personality? It seems like he's kind of locked in on another level right now.
Very stone-faced. He always has been. I had a hard time a year ago trying to get an emotional reaction out of him, and I thought it was me and what button I wasn't pushing, and it's just how he is. He's very, even though he has a twin in Jordan, they couldn't be polar opposites in terms of personality, unless you really get around him and see him in behind closed doors, so to speak. But he's like that. I mean, that's his personality. I've always said his number one skill and trait is his competitiveness. No matter what he's doing, he wants to win every drill. He wants to compete, and that's it's permeated to our team. But I learned through the course of last year that's just who he is. You want him on your poker team. You don't want to be playing against him because you can't read what he's got in his hand.
Greg, Billy Witz of the New York Times. Just on this, when the pairings were announced, did you think there was much of a chance that you'd end up in Milwaukee? And I guess, can you kind of, if I remember correctly, your region was the third one that was that they got to, and were you kind of doing the math in your head as it went along?
Yeah, I mean, we thought we had a pretty good chance because looking at all the metrics, and I know everybody's a bracketologist these days, we thought we had a pretty good chance of being on the 3 line. Where we fell in that, were we the first 3, the third 3, and obviously that can change, and that can change just based on flipping pods around too. So we had a little technical difficulty when we did our fan event back in Madison on Sunday. About the time they were unveiling our region, the technology failed. So there we are with a blank screen in front of us. I'm on my phone on Twitter trying to see did we get announced, and then when it came back, they were just popping to our bracket. So obviously that's exciting. It's great for our fans. It's great for our alumni base. It's great for the state of Wisconsin. Obviously for all our players' families that are able to get here, that are close enough. Former student athletes. There's a lot of positives, but I've also talked to the team about all the distractions that come with it, and we've tried to manage those as we've gone through the week, because I've been with teams here that have had success, and I've been with teams here that didn't have success. So I just want to make sure they focused on what's most important, and they've done a good job of that through the week.
Coach, having the crowd behind you here and also against a team that can get pretty hot from 3, how important is the start to this game for you guys to set a tone?
Well, the start is always important because you want to play the game well. And as I mentioned earlier, all teams at this time of year are good, and they've all are here for a reason. And what's made them good is what they'll try to stick to. So I think, I don't want to be dependent on the crowd, and I think our guys understand that. We have to play well. None of the 18,000 in here can dribble or play any defense or rebound. We have to do that and take care of those things, and then give the crowd a reason to, hopefully something positive to get behind. But I don't want to be dependent on it. Like I said before, I've seen it being an advantage, and we were also in here in 2005 and lost to a very good, was it 5? 6, 4, okay? 4. A very good Pitt team, when we were playing close to home too. So it's we have to take care of what's in between the lines.
Abby Schnabel, Wisconsin State Journal. Greg, the last time Chris Vogt was in an NCAA tournament, he was the 14 seed playing the 3. And this time around, he's the 3 playing the 14. Have you utilized that at all? You had him talk to the team about how important it is to not underestimate a 14 seed? Because he's lived it.
Well, I think what you have just said there, without saying, is that he's been a part of really good teams, both at Northern Kentucky and at Cincinnati. And as I mentioned earlier, to have a big eraser, erase the 3 and the 14 and the 2 and the 15 and the 7 and the 10, erase all that stuff, because it doesn't, for the most part, it doesn't matter when you really boil it all down. So I just saw 11 beat a 6 today. Michigan beat Colorado State. Doesn't surprise me. The numbers really didn't matter. Colorado State's really good. Michigan's good. So if he's passed on experiences privately, great. But I think where he's helped us is what he's helped us with throughout the year. Just the maturity in the locker room, obviously what he's done on the court's been instrumental for us too. But, if he can draw on some experiences, but they understand there's no underestimating here. I mean, Colgate is very good. Like I said, any team we're going to play from here on out, They aren't here by accident.
Coach, when you look at the season that you had a year ago, some off the court, I don't know if distractions is the right word, but some well-publicized issues, how gratifying then has this season been for you? Again, pick 10th in the Big Ten to win a share of the Big Ten title yourself, Coach of the Year. Obviously, you have more games to play, you hope. But how gratifying has this season been for you?
What I'm most happy for, or who I'm most happy for, are the players in the locker room, and what they go through day in and day out. And they understand and appreciate and embrace and have talked about just the togetherness of this group. And really, I watched that start last April, and then into the summer when some of that stuff came out, of how they just almost, it sucked them all in tighter, more together with me and our staff. And it's just how they've embraced the challenge of trying to become a good team, and they've blocked out all the outside noise. It really didn't matter. They know what they have within that team and within this locker room or that locker room, and also the sanctity of it, and appreciating and trusting each other in that locker room. And you don't have a championship caliber team like we do this year without that trust and that togetherness and that willingness to really confide in each other and grow through, good and bad together. And they've done a phenomenal job of really accepting all those challenges and sticking together. Together is probably the word I use more than any other in the English language with this group, and they've done a phenomenal job of it.
Coach, Mike Hogan from Badger 24/7. Obviously, last year you guys made the tournament, but maybe not as such an enjoyable experience, just kind of maybe being trapped in the hotel during free time. Can you just speak to what it's like this year for your players compared to last year?
Yeah, the guys that have been, obviously we have a lot that, some transfers and some freshmen that weren't in that environment last year, but it makes you appreciate what you have this year. I was doing all these interviews via Zoom, right? And there are very few in person, and our quarantined in our hotel rooms and having your meals knock on the door when the meal arrives, and get a little yard time at the baseball field in Indianapolis, the minor league field. So it gives you an appreciation for what you're a part of this year, and obviously you have to have a really good year to be a part of it. But they're all special. That one I'll remember just because of the uniqueness of everything that went into it to even have a season that year or last year, let alone be able to pull off a tournament.